Hi there, Tony here. I'm recording this while we are getting dumped on with a ton of snow out here in Colorado. So, with snow comes a lot of shoveling and therefore a lot of low back pain and sometimes some shoulder pain. And so, I'm here for you. We're going to do just a few short, simple poses to just help kind of rejuvenate the body after doing a lot of shoveling. Now, maybe for you, you're in summertime when you're watching this, and lucky you. Maybe you're shoveling a bunch of rock or doing some gardening or just sitting all day. I mean, really, this is a great rejuvenation for the low back and the shoulders, a little bit on the shoulders, for a lot of sitting. So let's get to it. So we're going to start off with child's pose, but we're going to add a little variation to it. So for child's pose, you can take your knees wide on your mat or close together or anywhere in between. Big toes come together for this. And we are going to kind of walk our way down. We'll go into regular child's pose first, then we'll add on our variation. So I'm just melting my heart down and allowing my head to rest here. Now, if you're really tight through the hips and you've got a lot of space here between your hips and your heels, maybe you roll up a towel or a blanket and just place it under there so you can just relax and soften back into it. So I'm just sinking my hips down toward my heels and allowing my spine to decompress here. A nice lengthening here. And I'll just let my hips be heavier. And I'll start to just find a nice deep breath. And I'm going to breathe into my low back. And just feel the breath expanding the tissues in that area of my body. You can stay right here if you want to add on that variation. We're just going to kind of come up a little bit and thread the needle. So the left arm is going to come underneath the right, and you're going to just melt yourself back down. And now you've got your temple, your left temple down on the mat. Now you can see my right arm is still above my head. I can kind of plant through my fingertips and draw up through my palm and hug my right shoulder back, or maybe I'll take my hand over and bring it over to my left hip. That can feel really nice as well. And so just kind of hang in there for a few breaths. And I'm going to show you this fairly quickly, and then that way you can do this if you're short on time, but you know now what to do if you have more time, and you can either pause me or come back to these poses on your own. So right now I'm just kind of stretching out my shoulder, my left shoulder, and now I'm going to unwind my right arm, come on up, and I'm going to be rude and look away from you, and we're going to just take our right arm and thread it underneath the left. Same thing, left arm, the hand can be forward, or you draw the hand over toward the right hip. And just breathe for just a few breaths here. And then eventually coming out, and again, you can choose to hold that a lot longer. It can feel really nice to stay there for a while. So from here, go just a couple quick rounds here of just cat-cow. So I'm rounding the spine, and then I'm drawing up the tailbone. And then I'm gonna tuck my tailbone and my chin and draw up and broaden through my shoulders. And we'll do that one more time. And then I'm going to come into a neutral spine and then drop down to my belly. So from here, I'm just going to come into a cobra pose. So my feet are a little, almost as wide as the mat, actually. At least hip width distance, but almost as wide as the mat. And then I'm going to take my hands underneath my shoulders, and I'm going to press my forehead down onto the mat as well. And then I'm going to press down through the tops of my feet, press down through my pubic bone, and really activate. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw my shoulders back and up, away from the ground, away from my ears. And then I'm going to traction my hands back. So they're not moving, but I've got this energy drawing back through my hands. From there, I'm going to press myself up, continuing to press down through my tailbone. And just get this nice extension in my spine. And I'll take one more breath here. And I'll roll it back down. Nice to kind of reverse all the flexion that's happening in the spine when you're rounded and shoveling. Now from here, let's go ahead and lay down onto our backs. I'm just going to shift around, and then gaze is going to be straight up. So watch me first if you're not familiar with bridge pose. And then feet are going to be on the mat, knees pointing toward the ceiling, hands just out of reach of my heels. And then from there, I'm going to just feel nice and strong where my shoulders are pressing down into the mat. I've got this little traction pressing down. And then I'll tuck my tailbone and work my spine up, lifting up through my hips. And I'm going to keep my knees stacked, or my knees kind of centered so that they're not flailing outward. And I'm just going to breathe. That's all you got to do. And just hold this and breathe. Give it one more big breath. And then just melt the spine back down, nice and slow. Now, let's take our feet about as wide as our mat and then just rock the pelvis side to side. And so as a result of rocking the pelvis side to side, our knees are just going to shift left to right. It's called windshield wipering our legs. And it's this very gentle, subtle movement, getting some rehydration back into the lumbar spine. Just a little bit of renewal. Good, and then from there, go ahead and just draw your knees into your chest and just give yourself a big squeeze. And maybe you grab on the shins, maybe you grab on your hamstrings. Just give yourself a little bit of squeeze and then just rock gently side to side, just massaging your spine. And then from there, you'll just make your way back up to a seat. And there's your quick fix for your shoveling adventures. Hopefully you are staying warm. And take care. I hope you enjoyed.